What's up, Zox fam? We're back with some more Etheria Restart. Now, I want to get into Rengoku real quick. Just kind of giving you guys some insight on where my account is, just kind of maybe helping some of you guys with just another perspective or some alternatives to certain slots that you can take advantage of. Now, what I'm currently doing here, you can see we have 9 out of 10 wins. If we go over to the battle log, and this is why I kind of like this, is it actually shows the time cleared, right? And you can even see like, okay, in the failed run, all the members died, or this one member died, or this member didn't have anything happen to him. So it like kind of shows you this. And the reason why this is important is because one of the gimmicks that you're facing in Rengoku is the fact that the attribute changes, right? So it kind of is like indicating like this is a clear indication of what's happening, because a lot of the times, obviously, like you can have maybe not a debuff land or something like that, but a lot of the times if the run is going well, then you obviously will have all your units. But if there's like a attribute shift or change, you might see some differences in who's alive versus who's not, right? But when we actually are looking at the team itself, I want to kind of talk about the slots, alternatives, etc. I'm actually highlighting Kachi in this setup. He's 5-star. I will go over gear and stuff like that so you guys can see that real quick. But if we go over to play again, right, we're going to start that battle. And then let's actually go to return to battle. Kachi is doing like, he's doing a really good job here with locking down the 2 adds on the side and pushing back, right? What that is alleviating is so much damage. And in my opinion, I kind of prefer that kind of setup, to be honest. Even like here, like, right, like normally if the ads were accessible to do damage, I would have probably died. But because Kachi is there to do damage, it actually gives me windows where with the build that I'm using on Lilium to actually come in and actually do damage, right? And just kind of keeping her alive. So that's one of like the big things about how this setup works. And then of course, Kachi is providing more turn meter manipulation. So that paired up with Lily actually feels really nice, right? So that was a 47 or 46 second clear, right? So if we actually go back real quick, right? Because I want you guys to actually see what the gear is kind of looking like. And then like I said, I'll show you guys some of like the other alternative teams I've been working with. I actually was able to, and this is like something I wanted to kind of talk about with this video, is actually working your way up, right? I actually was showcasing this to chat and how I made this transition. It took me a really long time though. Like, I mean, like for the count that I currently have on my Lilium, it took me, we're talking about 4 weeks now, right? And respectively so, in a game like this, that's not like the worst. Like I've been in other games where it's taken me even longer to farm like a specific like piece of gear that I may have needed to like really shift comfortably into endgame. But now with this count, it actually is allowing me to ensure that I'm guaranteeing like certain types of damage. What I currently have going on, and this is just something I have to like work out over time. I actually need another crit damage piece, but I'm going to be farming that in the 2 times. So I'm going to be shifting that on my Lilium. Now I'm using an attack bonus piece, crit rate, and crit damage, but ideally I want this to be another crit damage piece because we already are hitting the requirement for the crit rate, and then because of count's going to be giving us extra attack anyway, so I want that extra crit damage. Now the thing is too, of course, my Lilium is 5 out of 5, so I think that's just kind of the requirement for the DPS in general, whether you're using Yelly or Lilium. And then when we look at the shell, this was something that like again, like I said, I had to kind of just hope and pray that I got to drop. I'm using a Fury Momentum Fury Edge. So that's basically what I'm using right now. Granted, like I said before that, and I want to emphasize this, I was doing before this shell dropped for me, I was actually using a count, and I'm not sure if I still have one that has it, but I was using a count, and I showed chat on stream. I was using a count with specifically this. This was the exact count I was using. Now, granted, it was leveled, obviously, but I've since, you know, imprinted it. But I was using a Bulwark Momentum Fury Edge. So the reason why I'm emphasizing this, though, is because I know some people may have the units, but they might, like, you know, swear by the fact, oh, I don't have that exact build. No, you can still do the one shot. You can still do the run, right? But it might not necessarily be as consistent, but it's still doable. And the whole premise is that you need to be at least attempting and trying to get clears so that you can have a chance for it to drop, right? So I was like 5 out of 10ing, 4 out of 10ing, 6 out of 10ing, right? And now I'm at the point where I was able to get these shells to finally drop to where I'm able to actually shift it. Now, I'm not saying like just get good and get the pieces, right? Like I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that with time, like you will eventually get there. And also, like I said, I had to also go through that process where I just didn't have that build. So I had to make it work, right? So that I think is a really, really important component. Now, the other thing is too, with that setup, obviously Lily is a big component. What I've tried to alternate in for her, and I'll kind of talk about that with another character, is actually Nell. And I'll kind of show you guys that. But with Lily, the biggest thing with her, it's really hard to replace her for this specific setup because of how she moves your team. So the thing is that she's moving the damage dealer, right? Crit damage up buff, which is huge damage boost. But then on top of that, it's anytime she's hitting, she's giving them turn meter push. So that's something that ends up being super invaluable when you're talking about rotating your DPS to have enough turns to deal with the fact that, like, say you're running double dark, right? Where, you know, obviously that's a detrimental thing in Rengoku. She's getting you in and out of the fight quicker, right? So my Lily, for example, is at a plus 189 right now. And I kind of have her on like some broken pieces, and this is just also kind of emphasizing like how you can just get speed. I have Swift Rush, Swift Raid activated, and like I said, I don't even care what these pieces say. It's got speed on them for what I need. She's just faster than everybody, and even the pieces I have aren't even necessarily the most tuned in speed. Like this has a 3 speed, but it's activating the Swift Raid, so that's what I'm currently using on her right now, right? Again, the White Fang strategy I think is really powerful because, again, that gives you your first access to things like Swift Raid. And then I have Swift Rush on it, and then a Shadow Dash, a gold one. Ideally, if I could honestly roll that higher, then that would be great. But hey, it ain't roll higher yet, so here we are. Now, Kloss. Now, there's definitely been a lot of conversation about, you know, Kloss over Dinah, who's more consistent. I mean, if we're being honest, the setup completely changes based off of who you use, and there's other factors that you didn't have to consider. The reason why I still like using Kloss more personally is because even if she does miss the defense break, granted the run, I just like chuck it as like, I'll take that L, right? I lose the stamina. But the thing that actually makes this work is the fact that she also applies speed down. That's something that Dinah doesn't actually provide. And that's something that, like, when you actually are thinking about like the ads rotating or even Rengoku rotating, you can't actually like stop him or push him back. You can slow him down though. So that is giving you more turns to possibly have to be able to get rid of him, right? So I just kind of like that. Also, the turn meter manipulation on the ads, again, is just making it to where they just never really get to hit me paired up with the Kachi. So that's what I actually am personally liking at this point. She's plus 167 on the speed. When we're actually looking at modules, we have Swift Smite activated now, finally, which I think we do. Yeah, we do with Swift Raid, or sorry, Swift Rush. Again, not even crazy speed tunes. Affect accuracy, some time weave pieces. I think actually this is a crazy piece right here. Yeah, 15 speed. But yeah, plus 167 is achievable if you got speed spread out more on other pieces, especially at this point if you've been like just kind of farming a ton. Again, Codex of Magic with a gold Shadow Dash. So I mean, again, this isn't even like perfect, but it's just kind of showing like, okay, we're getting there, right? So Codex of Magic, I'm using her. I know the build I was doing before was Dark Moon, Swift Rush, Swift Smite. Very, very simple. And then the Bloodbath, like I actually love this combo because then I can actually use that in like PvP and stuff like that too. So it's really good. Now, Kachi, okay? Kachi the GOAT, man. Kachi the guard, Kachi the GOAT, regular Kachi. Kachi is just OP. I think, honestly, Kachi is one of the best units in the game. Like, to be honest, like, just for what he does, like, he enables so much stuff in conjunction to, like, your team composition. Like, he's really, really good. So, yeah, Kachi, again, main thing, skill 3. That's all we really care about. Turn meter push is just kind of built in. That just does its thing. Modules, very straightforward. I have him at a plus 166 right now. And that's just so that he can cut. Trying to go up before that first ad just is like really huge because that prevents any silences. We have the Swift Rush and Swift Raid activated. And this is what I'm just kind of showing. Like, these are things that you can activate and have kind of going just from your initial farm from Nico Nada, right? Doki Doki and Nico Nada, right? Affect accuracy on him. And then when we go to the shell, not even a swift rush on it. It's literally strive, swift raid. If you are running into like speed issues, one thing we did talk about on stream was actually running like the activating the strive, so that if you do get hit, you can actually push them forward. So that's something that, you know, you can take advantage of. But that's like what I'm running him on. He's not even 6-star, and I think that that's the thing I was looking at, is like, if once I 6-star him, it's actually going to allow him to be a little bit faster, so he will rotate in the front, so it brings him up to, I think, 113. So he'll actually be able to actually rotate in the front, and I think I can make like 3 red shadow prints right now, so we'll get there when we get there, right? So that's what I'm currently like running the most. Now I actually want to talk about some of the alternative teams that I was just kind of messing around with and using. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys another Ringo setup. This is actually going to be taking out the Lily though and alternating in Nell. Now, I've been seeing a lot of people say, like, you know, Lily's the only character that can do it. And I would say do it consistently. I think Nell actually has a pretty fair shake at being able to do it. There are a couple of different things I will say that can make my run a lot more consistent, but they're things that just kind of come over time. Number one, it would actually be 6-starring my characters, right? Like Nell and my Kachi are not 6-starred in this. They can still do it, but I also think they'll be able to better like take on the hits and stuff that they're receiving if they're 6-starred. The other thing that also comes with that too is base speed increase, right? So for those that are like, dog, I don't even have the base speeds to even achieve this right now, it'll be a lot easier to hit that goal once you actually have these characters at that point, right? So here we go. We got both Kachi and Klaus at the tail end here, and then GG, right? So 54-second clear. I mean, it's like they're emulating the same thing, right? The thing is, though, and this is why I say, like, I will say that some setups do become a little bit specific, and I also kind of agree with that for like the Lily setup. Obviously, there are some minimums, right? If you're gonna go for this setup where you're trying to run the Nell, which I'll show you guys my Nell build. The Nell build actually is consisting of basically just speed and swift raid. But the difference is, and this is why it's not like me just slapping all my Lily gear on her, because her whole right side, she needs effect accuracy, right? Whereas when I'm running Lily, I don't care about any of those stats. She doesn't need any of it. So that might be a little bit harder for people to try to achieve, just because like trying to get effect accuracy on the right pieces, 2 swift rushes, and a swift raid that has that with speed rolled on them. That's just gonna come over time. Like if I'm being honest, because even this piece I'm using, it doesn't even have like it actually rolled, but just getting the piece to have speed on it was a process, right? So yeah, that right there, not even like super high rolls, but I would say the minimum want her at like, I think it's like 1 plus 166 if she's at 5-star. It might be like 167, and that's so that you can actually rotate and cut in front. But I got her at 171. If I actually 6-starred her, she would be a little bit higher, so she would actually be at 116 base, which would make her significantly higher. And then even just in terms of like where she died there, like if she actually had more bulk built on her, like having her like at level 50, for example, she would actually be able to take on those hits. She had more HP, she had more defense. And then of course the base speed would make a huge difference, in her rotation. So, like I said, the biggest thing is the skill 2. And the reason why I actually run it this way, where I go double skill 2 double skill 3, is because the vulnerability proc, Rengoku, he goes so many times that he will actually cause like certain things to like not last as long. So with the vulnerability proc, being able to reapply it is pretty huge. And that will allow you to just make sure that the damage throughout the duration of the fight is just consistent. Klaus on Codex of Magic is necessary because she's going to be able to reapply and then also stack her hacking in progress quicker. And then, like I said, she's also going to be providing you the speed down, which is going to make Rengoku rotate slower. I mean, you're going to have some anomaly runs where it doesn't land, right? And that can ruin the run. But the whole point is that you want to be trying to get some clears versus no clears, right? And then, like I said, the biggest thing that you're going to be getting from Nell is the fact she has this skill 2, which gives you that turn meter push and also heals you at the same time. So if you aren't using like a count, which I highly recommend using if you're going to go with Lilium. That can actually make a big difference. Outside of that, the only other setup that I've been running, and I have a whole video on that, I'll just, again, like, have you guys watch that. But the only other setup that I use where I was like able to kind of freely just use the DPS on like Revelation or whatever it was, if we actually go back in, was actually my setup with Ninfa Nayel, which is a part of like, you know, all the Ninfa Nayel videos I did where I have Kloss on Dark Moon. I'm using Lilium, and Ninfa Nayel. I've alternated out the Lilium, gone Yeli, Kloss, which again, Kloss can technically be alternated out with Dyna. But the thing is that, again, I will agree with the fact that Dyna is a more consistent defense breaker. But again, I also feel like the speed down is just like, for me personally, I really like it a lot. For what I currently have accessible, it just makes things like super, super smooth. And it works with what I have. Like if you don't have it, then obviously that, you know, could be a better alternative. But for what I'm trying to do, that, like I said, combo between Nell, Kloss is huge. And then of course, like I said, if you got Lily, obviously you're going to use her. But yeah, that's another option that I feel like works really well with Kachi. That, like I said, can crush this boss as long as you just have the proper DPS built up. So, yeah, guys, that's basically going to be that with this one. I hope that this was able to give you some insight, maybe kind of give you a little bit of a, you know, an idea of as far as what you want to do. We might be seeing some changes in the future, so who knows, right? But that's going to be that with this one, guys. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.